Guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here. We have more cards from the Starcraft set, specifically now for Death Knight, which means it's going to be Zerg. These cards look really powerful in a sense of like buff Death Knight deck, which we'll get into it. But the first card we're going to take a look here is the Barrage. It's a 1 mana, get a 1/1 Baneling that explodes if you control another Zerg minion, which of course you will. You wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? Get another one. So these are going to explode, being able to deal damage to your opponent's minions, which is pretty solid. Death Knight struggles with early game removal and especially wide scale removal. I mean, we have like the 4 mana deal 2 to everything. We've got Threads, which has been nerfed twice now. It used to cost like 1, right? And then it went 2, and then it went to 3, and it's still played at 3. So Death Knight really struggles with that early game wide scale AoE, and this is a way for like an early game Zerg deck to be able to come back with a very inexpensive spell. I mean, this is very cheap. Anything for 1 mana that has the capability of dealing 1 to 2 damage to everything on your opponent's side, with even more upside than that if you can buff these on the board, is very good in my opinion. So solid first card coming out. Taking a look at the next one, which seems really good. We got a 3 mana 3/2 Death Rattle. Your Zerg minions have +1/+1 for the rest of the game. The Infestor. This seems exceedingly strong too. This is just in general, so same thing that works with like the 4 mana 4/3 where your minions have +1 attack for the rest of the game. This is just a stagnant. They get 1/1. That may not seem like a lot, but for a 3 mana 3/2 early on Death Rattle, there's a lot of things that can give minions reborn. Looking at like Mosh Pit, there's a lot of things that allow this to. We have the Buccaneer, which can give this card reborn as well. So just the ability to give your minions like +1/+1 and even more than that. Like if you're giving your Zerg minions +3/+3 +2/+2 if this gets reborn, that's just a lot of stats. Decently statted minion in itself, given the ability that it has. And the other ones that this is going to buff, it's going to be itself as well, right? So once the Infestor dies, it's going to be a 3 mana 4/3. Another one dies, it's going to be a 3 mana 5/4. So in itself, it's going to get buffed, which is very good. So some sort of Zerg self-buff deck is looking very serious when they're printing cards like this, right? So DK, Zerg Stonks, especially like a hand buff variant, looking good, looking real good. We have the Viper. That's a 4 mana 5/3 Battle Cry. Summon a minion from your opponent's hand, so a Dirty Rat, and then your other Zerg minions gain Reborn and attack it. This card looks cracked. I mean, dude. So we were just talking about Reborn with the Zerg stuff, and obviously like by turn 4 you're gonna have quite a few Zergs out, if not already the one that buffs the board with probably already Reborn on it. So I mean, this just seems insane, right? I mean, this is Disrupt, this is get more Zerg stuff, get corpses from those Zerg stuffs. I mean, Viper probably, this card is absolutely, if Zerg is a playable Death Knight like deck, this is going to be an absolute staple in that deck. And what very powerful. Like this just seems really good, especially a 4 mana 5/3 with an ability like this. I mean, that's just good. However, we will keep a note. It says your other Zerg minions, so it won't be this card that attacks. It'll be the other Zerg minions that you have on the board. But I'm assuming if you're running a Zerg deck and it's turn 4, you probably have at least 1 to 2 Zerg minions out that have a Death Rattle that will definitely benefit from getting Reborn and then attacking it and then being resummoned and then probably killing the minion that you do bring out, unless it's like a Ceaseless Expanse. But you would never Dirty Rat a Ceaseless Expanse, right? So taking a look at the Baneling, oh, this is the thing that comes out of the 1 mana card. So it's a 1 mana 1/1 Death Rattle, deal damage equal to this minion's attack to all enemy minions. So it is 1 damage when it dies. There's quite a few things, I believe. There's a Zerg card, the location, the 2 mana one that gives this Rush. So being able to play that, you get this card to have Rush. It summons 2 of them. You do 2 to all enemy minions. It's really good. If you buff this in any way, shape, or form, it's not an undead, so you can't use like the 1 mana 1/2 guy that gives a undead +2 attack. But there are quite a few other cards that do give this attack. There is the neutral minion, I believe the 4 mana 2/2 or the 3 mana 2/2. That when it gets, you can give its attack to somebody else. A lot of hand buff paladins play this card, so I see that being very good with Baneling, like really good. Even if it only has like 4 attack, you put it on here, this has 5 attack, you give it Rush, all of a sudden you have a 1 mana minion that can deal 5 damage to everything on your opponent's side. It seems really powerful. And I think hand buff Death Knight may have actually just gotten some juice with this. Keep in mind, we did review Death Knight after the rotation, and Death Knight is losing its entire plague package. Death Knight is losing a lot. It loses its Titan. It loses so much. So Death Knight is going to be in a really, really tough spot after the first expansion of this year, not the mini set. There's no rotation when the mini set comes out, but 2 months after that, when the first expansion releases this year, Death Knight and quite a few other classes are going to be in a really bad spot. All the cards that are found in the popular decks that they're using right now are going away, right? So it'll be interesting to see where everything lands. But when you have cards like these seem pretty powerful. A lot of disrupt. The hand buff stuff, I don't know how much of the hand buff stuff is leaving. I didn't really look at that, but I'm assuming some of it's staying. And if it does, we have what could be a semblance of a decent Death Knight deck here. So with that, catch you in the next card review. I'm sure there'll be quite a few more today. And as always, I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.